Thank you for this hearing, and welcome to the witnesses before us, Mr. Altman, Dr. Su, Mr. Integrator, and Mr. Smith. It's a great pleasure to have all of you here, but it's especially prideful moment for the Pacific Northwest to have Mr. Smith and Mr. Altman here, both representing an open AI approach. By that I mean an approach where we want to win against China and a closed system by making sure that what is developed here in the United States and around the globe is an architecture where the United States wins and is open. To do that, we need to focus in winning on computing power, on algorithms, and on robust data sources. All of that will be key. Personally, I believe a continued investment in NSF helps in all of those areas as a good public-private partnership with the industry that's represented here today. I'm so proud that we passed the CHIPS and Science Act, because the CHIPS and Science Act also set a foundation for investing in the United States of America and bringing more of the supply chain back to the United States of America to build on a future leadership that we already have, I believe, in the computing power. But we also need to understand that we have to move forward on the CHIPS Act, like the University of Washington $10 million grant on multi-design sets for chips, the very large-scale integrated designs I'm sure that Dr. Su will tell us about today. But the fact that the United States has to continue to lead on the future designs and the implementation of that also requires us to be very smart about data centers, about sources of electricity, and how we're going to build that supply that could be up to 12% of electricity demand in the very near future. So how do we do that? I've noticed in each of your testimonies you all explain this, but I'm also very proud that Microsoft has already signed an agreement with one company, Fusion Energy in Everett, Washington, for a power source supply. Maybe Mr. Altman in his testimony will talk about this, but that they hope to get very near future energy source from that. So clearly the United States leading on electricity and development. So Mr. Smith, very much appreciate in your testimony the accentuation on the fact that the United States of America needs hundreds of thousands of new electricians, something we should all want to get behind. The fact that having electricity and the electricians and the data source centers here in the United States and in other places will be key. While I want to see us move forward, as the chairman said, we signed a letter saying we needed a broader support for export controls. I want to be clear. Export controls are not a trade strategy. They are not a back pocket issue that the President of the United States whips out in trade negotiations. We are going to move fast because we are going to set standards. I believe those standards should be encouraging very broad distribution of U.S. manufactured and made AI chips and technology, and that we're asking our partners overseas to comply with the rules that we establish, things like making sure that there is no circumvention of the supply that somehow gets into China's hands, making sure that we have access and making sure that we can verify on that, and also making sure that U.S. data companies and cloud-based companies are allowed to be in that market. We should not be going to markets overseas only to have them tell us that organizations with cloud services from the U.S. would not be allowed. This, I believe, would be a robust initiative on getting U.S. AI chips and U.S. AI open systems dominated around the globe. Why do we need to move fast? We need to move fast because if we don't, we are looking at another Huawei, another instance where the United States is behind and also saying we should tear out this system that now we don't like for lots of reasons and backdoor policies. So I'm all for winning. That is why we passed the CHIPS and Science Act. I'm all for winning, and that is why we have passed 7 bills out of this committee last year that kind of got stuck in the lame duck. I think the chairman of the committee wasn't ready to move forward in negotiations with the House and Senate on those 7 bills. But those bills, a bill between myself and Senator Young on the Institute for Standards, NIST standards, which I think we still need to do. My colleague and I, Moran, on education and scholarships, small business, and the bill by my colleague here, Senators Klobuchar and Thune, which was also related to the NIST standards. So we had an opportunity a year ago to move fast. We didn't do it. So let's do this now. Let's get together and figure this out. The faster the United States moves now, I like this great Paul Romer quote, which was about collaboration is the next phase of innovation. If we don't collaborate here, if we throw down on politics instead of getting the policy right, we won't move fast. Let's allow these people to do what they do best, and let's make sure the United States has the right policies in place so that our open AI standard wins the day. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.